Hello there ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? It's Alexander Hilly123 here and it's time for a new video, and as you can see from the title it is a new pickups video today. It's been about two and a half months since my last one, and this is always around about the amount of time I leave it before I make a new pickups video. So let's get right into it. Today I have 5 to show you, 4 physical, 1 digital, 2 on the Xbox One, 2 on the Xbox 360 and 1 on the PS4. And as always, I will start in the order that I have purchased them in, apart from the second game, which I'm going to leave till last. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, it is Cuphead, released a couple of months ago. I purchased it just a couple of days after it came out, and it's definitely one of those occasions where seeing the media hubbub about the game actually forced me to part with my money. £17 worth of my money, to be precise. But I most certainly didn't regret it. Overall, Cuphead was a great experience, absolutely beautiful art style, astonishing music, insanely difficult game. I raged like a motherfucker through some of it, but it was a really solid experience. If you don't know, it's basically a game of boss battles, all delicately poised and balanced, some insanely hard, others just hard. Nothing's really easy though on Cuphead. You've got a really cool upgrade system, different kind of weapons to defeat the enemies. There are also run and gun levels that are reminiscent of Contra and stuff like that, and also Cuphead has a little plane, so the plane levels, and that kind of reminded me of R-Type, to be honest with you. But I completed it now. I've got about 70% of the achievements, and I think I'm all done. But I've got to say, Cuphead was just a fantastic experience. It really was. There were times when I just didn't think I was going to complete it. It took me a while to do so because I enjoyed it in short bursts. I'd just complete one boss per night. It took me like 2 hours to complete most bosses. If you're easily frustrated, Cuphead might not be for you, but if you like really difficult platformers, then I highly recommend it. I do think as well there's going to be a sequel to it. So overall, Cuphead, great experience, and I think it's one I'll come back to as well because I want to better my score on the bosses, because you get a rank basically when you kill the bosses, how quickly you kill them, if you take damage, things like that. There's quite a lot to say for a simple little platformer. It's deceptively long, I think, as well. You get a super meter, and the more you build that super meter up, the more you can do devastating attacks. Like 5 cards worth. There's 5 playing cards at the bottom left of the screen. Let that fill up and Cuphead can do this devastating attack where it looks like he's shooting milk out of his cup. So bizarre. Don't know what the developers were smoking when they made the game, but overall, highly recommend Cuphead. Next, ladies and gentlemen, is another game I highly recommend, even though it was quite divisive on release, but it's my kind of game. And I only found out about it a couple of months ago, and I really enjoyed it. It is Shadows of the Damned, and that is a man who has a gun with a skull on the front, and it's not just a skull for decoration, it actually is a real talking, floating skull called Johnson, and that is Garcia Hotspur on the front. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Japanese game, would you believe? Actually from Suda51, director of No More Heroes, and he's made a few other quirky games as well. He's supposedly a quirky character, my god, can you see it in this game? But also produced by Mr. Shinji Mikami, the demigod himself of Devil May Cry, you know, Mr. Resident Evil, The Evil Within 1, and Akira Yamaoka, basically the guy who developed all the music for the early Silent Hill games. Beautiful music in those games, and not really similar music and soundscapes here, but nevertheless he does a good job, and what a dream team they are. I really enjoyed this game. It has been described as Resident Evil 4 on crack, but I think that would be a little bit wide of the mark. This game is so tongue-in-cheek and genuinely hilarious that I was just having a whale of a time through the best parts of it anyway. The end boss was very frustrating, and there's a few frustrating parts here and there. The game is tanky and not exactly the smoothest of games, and even for a 2012 game, the graphics aren't the best. But if you do like third-person shooters, you like a kind of gothic horror aesthetic, but you're looking for a game that doesn't take itself seriously, I'd highly recommend this. I only paid about £7 or £8 for it, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a sequel now, 5 years after release. But yeah, I really like it. Psychologically twisted, visceral combat, brutally demented boss battles. There's some really cool boss battles throughout the game, and there's also a really neat upgrade system also, and this gameplay element of light. I'm not going to go into detail about it now, but yeah, check it out, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested by what it sounds like. Shadows of the Damned. And next up is a game, well, the next two games I only purchased yesterday. The first, Spec Ops The Line. This is a game I know nothing about, and I haven't even started it yet. I have purchased this because I've seen it a lot on, you know, WatchMojo.com's videos on YouTube, where they do constant top 10s, like top 10 times people shit the pants, or top 10 times people slipped on a banana, stuff like that. They also do top 10s of video game content, and this game has appeared quite a few times, and I think they mentioned that it was a game that people kind of got the wrong idea about. As you would, looking at the front cover, it kind of seems like it could be a Call of Duty game, and you'd expect it to be first person and a million miles an hour. But it's actually a third person game that delves quite deeply into the mentality of the soldiers and the kind of special ops team that the game is about. And also Nolan North, Mr. Nathan Drake himself, voices the lead character that you play as, and that hooked me as well. I was like, oh wow, this is intriguing, because I love Nolan North overall. I paid £5-6 for this, mainly for the FUBAR pack, as it says there. Then I realised, as you can see inside, the FUBAR pack is a frigging download slip of paper with a code on, so obviously it's going to be used. I'll try and use it, but I bet the fella before me used it already, which is absolutely fine. I don't care, I only paid £6 for it. But yeah, I'm interested to see what this is all about. There's supposedly a cover system. You can use sand as a key gameplay dynamic to manipulate enemies, utilise a whole host of gadgets, and the main player, main character, Captain Martin Walker, his mental health deteriorates as he begins to experience hallucinations and slowly experiences the horror of war. So it doesn't kind of trivialise it and glorify it. It shows the true fucked up nature of everything, and the more human side, I guess. But I'm just interested to see what this is like, because it got, not panned, but it got shelved by the publisher, I think, and they all went their separate ways, and it didn't work out. But it got pretty solid reviews. I see a lot of 8 out of 10s here, and 88% out of 100, etc, etc. Not exactly an amazing game, but it did well, and maybe it aimed at the wrong audience, or people didn't exactly realise what kind of game it was. But I'm intrigued to play this, but obviously I can't say any more because I don't know. But I'm going to start that next week, Spec Ops The Line. Another game I played yesterday, bought yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. I spent 20 minutes queuing up in game for this, and it was frustrating as fuck, because someone was purchasing a PS4 in front of me, and someone was buying some kind of phone accessory. And for me, there should be a till for people who are purely buying games, and then another for people who are buying miscellaneous stuff, because the people who are buying games are going to be in and out within a minute or two. Those motherfuckers were there for about 20 minutes, and I was in a bit of a rush, and I was in there for 20 minutes to just buy one game. But I didn't pay my own money for this next game, because I had £25 worth of game gift card vouchers, which I saved over for my birthday about 3 months back, and it is Uncharted. Not Uncharted, Uncharted. The Lost Legacy. And I paid £25 for this, ladies and gentlemen. It isn't second hand, so it is new. The game, I think, is I don't know when this was released, 3-4 months ago perhaps. But I love the old Uncharted games. I wasn't on the bandwagon with Uncharted 4. I didn't enjoy the more kind of cinematic experience that the game had. I love the first 3 games because of how gamey and arcadey they are. And I just like the mixture of gunplay and puzzles and the exploration. It's obviously incredibly linear, but it's such a beautiful game. I really like them, and they've got such a nice sense of humour as well. You know, Nathan Drake just frivolously walking along, hey, I'm a murderer, and he never really goes into too much detail about that, does he? As he's getting these treasures, and he just paints him as such an innocent man, yet he's an absolute mass murderer. But yeah, this game, we are now Chloe Fraser, She is in Uncharted 2 and 3, pretty cool character. But we've also got the feminist's favourite, Nadine Ross, I think it is. She was a pretty ridiculous character in the fourth game. Already spoke about it. Naughty Dog, I'm pretty sure the main guys at the top of Naughty Dog are social justice warriors. And I don't really like to bring politics into it, but I'm very much anti-social justice warrior because I've got common sense and I'm a decent human being. But you can have a strong, independent female character. Let's have a look at Tess, for example, or Chloe herself. But Nadine was a complete joke. She was a complete joke. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with her in this game, because at the end of the day, I guess the way the Naughty Dog devs see it is Nathan Drake isn't good, Nadine isn't bad. They both wanted that treasure, and they both did whatever they could to get their hands on it. So fair enough. But it'll be interesting to see how they team up. Also, spoiler incoming, but Sam Drake, Nathan's brother, is in this game, voiced by Mr. Troy Baker himself. But I kind of hope that they finish the Uncharted franchise after this, because I don't really know what there is to do from here. But you know, Uncharted 4, I really enjoyed it still, but I thought like it was a bit too long, and I didn't like the cinematic experience of it. Nearly 20 minutes, 20 hours, I should say. The game is a bit too much. But this apparently is only a 7-8 hour campaign, but I'm very slow with my games on my first playthrough. I'm very methodical and take my time, so it'll probably take me a little bit longer. But maybe the fact that it's shorter will make me enjoy it more, not outstay its welcome. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the last game I'm going to show you today, it isn't an ordinary game. I'm not going to speak about it that much. We're running in nearly at 12 minutes now. My pickups videos always last just about 15 minutes or so, and I aim to complete this one in that amount of time as well. It is, of course, as you know, The Evil Within 2. And I could speak about this for a long time, because obviously people know how much I love the first game and how much of a super fan I am. I've got a Keeper bobblehead, I've got the special edition, the game, I've got an Evil Within t-shirt. I've also got a mug. And I uploaded my blind nightmare playthrough without commentary of the second game, so you can go and watch that. And maybe one day, if I get really good at the second game, I'll do classic mode with commentary. I've still not completed classic mode, like kind of like I did with the first game, where I did survival difficulty, no commentary. That was just about when I started playing the game. And then I did an Akumu commentary playthrough, and then I did a no upgrade playthrough. So replayable, man. But basically, guys, long story short, this game has broken my heart. It's westernized, it's watered down, it's not exactly for the masses, but the problem with this game is that they listened to a lot of people who didn't love the first game. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because when a franchise is not in its infancy, when it's had like 3 or 4 games come out, the developers know, and the publisher as well, most importantly, know what to aim for. They know what audience they're going for. They know what kind of game they're going to make, and they evolutionise the gameplay ever so slightly. With this game, they didn't have a clue what people loved about the first game. I know what I loved about the first game, and having been on the Evil Within forums and seeing that hardcore fan base, the fact of the matter is the hardcore fan base isn't massive. It's quite niche. A lot of people bought this because they heard Shinji Mikami, they heard Resident Evil 4, and the game, for whatever reason, wasn't what they wanted it to be. And I've said this before, people complained that it was too action orientated, the first game. And some people complained there wasn't enough action in it. And I just find that quite bemusing, because for me, the first Evil Within is just near perfection in terms of what I want in terms of gameplay. Now, frame rate issues, technically, yes, the game's got problems. And on 360 and PS3, the game is fucking absolutely diabolical. But I've got it on my laptop now, as well as my Xbox One and PS4, and I've got to say, playing at top settings, 60 FPS, the game looks beautiful, it plays well. But the gameplay, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm talking about the first game here, but the gameplay in the first game is so good, and it's linear, but it's a big game. But the open aspect of this game is not the problem. The main 3 problems I have with this game: 1, the AI is absolutely appalling on the enemies. You can run away from them and go around the corner, run back, stealth kill them. You stealth kill everything in this game. and stealth is the only viable option. Why? Because there's a crafting system, and there shouldn't have been a crafting system. In the first game, you get ammo drops. In this game, you get gunpowder and mainly green gel. Now, green gel is used to upgrade Sebastian's stamina and his health and combat, the sway of the weapons, which wasn't in the first game exactly. And you use weapon parts to upgrade your weapons. And I was saying to a work colleague, quite, not a heated debate, but I said to him, why would I want to pick up a fuse and gunpowder to use a shock bolt when I could just pick up a shock bolt? Now, with something like The Last of Us, the crafting system worked, and it was pretty damn simplistic, but I didn't understand why this game needed a crafting system. You can't engage in the combat in this game like you can in the first game. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy the stealth aspect of The Evil Within 1, I love it. Obviously, when you've played the game time and time again like I have, you know how the enemies are going to react, you know what the AI is all about. This game is still very good, but it isn't anywhere near as good as the first game. Yet, the game journalists are falling over themselves to laud this game. But yet and still, it has not sold well, and I don't think there will be an Evil Within 3, and that's why it's broke my heart. Apparently, after a week of it being released, in the UK at least, the game sold quarter of the amount that the first game sold, and that is a big hit. That is a big hit, and I can't see Bethesda being impressed with that. I just hope we get a third game that's directed by Shinji Mikami, or that doesn't have a Westerner developing it, because this game had John Johannes directing it, and John, you broke my heart, dude. You broke my heart. I do not like the story of where this game went. I'm not going to give spoilers, but it's westernized, it's obvious, and it's cowardly, the ending especially. The ambiguous, mysterious nature of what the hell's going on is lost, and that's what I loved in the first game. I don't want a story to have an happy ending necessarily. I don't want it to tell me everything. It's a fucked up, bizarre Japanese survival horror game, and I just feel like what I said at the start, they didn't know what the intended audience was. But don't worry, I'm going to leave it there because I'm going on too long. I have a video planned in the coming months, because I'm going to be very careful with how I do it, because I want to get it right, detailing why the first game is better than the second game, why the second game sold so badly, and why they went in the direction they went in. I just wish that Shinji Mikami directed the second game so much, or one of the main Japanese members of the team, because it would have been so much different than that. I don't hate The Evil Within 2, but I certainly don't love it. It's so similar to Dead Space 3, not in terms of the fact that Dead Space 3 was much more action orientated, but in terms of how I feel about it. It's very, very I just feel a tinge of sadness when I play it. It's good, but it could have been so much better. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for anyone that has watched, and upcoming soon is Resident Evil Remake Chris Redfield playthrough. Oh yes, because next week it's PlayStation Experience, and Resi 2 and Resi 3 Remake. I'm still holding out. See you soon.